Hello, my name is Os, and welcome to this analysis of Radiohead's experimental rock masterpiece, In Rainbows. In Rainbows serves as a very high point in Radiohead's discography, and also reigns as one of the easiest to understand thematically at face value. Tom York himself has described the songs In Rainbows to relate to the fucking panic of realizing you're about to die, and that any time soon I could possibly have a heart attack when I next go for a run. And that's the exact quote from The Guardian itself, but rather than just talk about it, let's go into the songs themselves. First, 15 Steps. 15 Steps, while being one of the most upbeat songs from the album, it is one of the few songs that directly references death. Starting with the title, the 15 steps talked about are the 15 steps that it generally takes to walk up a long drop gallows. Practically everything in the song points to this gallows hanging symbolism. First, the sheer drop after the 15 steps is the space where the victim is forced to hang. Then, the speaking of a string being cut and reeled, easily related to the string on a gallows. But in all honesty, the idea of hanging isn't truly the point. It is my belief that the 15 steps resemble the short time we have in life, and how eventually there is a fast ending to our life, almost like a sheer drop-off of living. This can be further seen in the line, "One by one it comes for us all," which almost certainly symbolizes the inevitability of death. However, even if we are to accept that these 15 steps are the steps of life, then what about the part where Tom seems to be talking to someone in particular with the line, "You used to be alright, what happened?" Well, as I stated before, this person spoken to for almost all of the album is life itself. Life is often much easier when younger and we have no responsibility, but it slowly becomes harder as we must fend for ourselves. Here, Radiohead lyrically personify life and death as characters and attempt to have conversations with life itself. It's a weird and almost depressing idea to think of life as a significant other that you are losing interest in, but a fairly spot-on one. Like a wife or husband, we commit ourselves to life, but as we spend more time with life, we begin to notice more and more flaws. However, Tom goes further in his conversation with life with the line, "First you reel me in, and then you cut the string." This fishing analogy gives me the idea that Tom is almost scolding life for betraying him. Life will often push us into one direction that we think is right for us, but then this decision ends up screwing us over. But since we've already been reeled out too far, there is no coming back from this bad situation. This idea is even made more evident with a few previous lines. "How come I end up where I started? How come I end up where I went wrong? Won't take my eyes off the ball again." These lines were in response to being reeled out and left to drown by life. The idea of the 15 steps relates to the journey we must take before death, and the moments where Tom talks to life is a way for him to reflect on the hardships in life. All these ideas can connect clearly to another way that Tom describes his album, with the quote, "That anonymous fear thing, sitting in traffic thinking, I'm sure I'm supposed to be doing something else." The song connects this by notifying the audience that life is short, and thus you can't afford to take your eye off the ball and go back to where you went wrong, since we only have a few steps until our inevitable sheer drop. Body Snatchers takes a bit of a turn thematically from the last song, and talks more about identity issues than the album's usual life and death theme. This song is quite simply about not feeling comfortable with yourself and your personality, and how self-consciousness often forces us to act like someone we are not. The lyrics clearly show this by using the symbolic idea of being trapped inside of a body. This entrapment is seen by two clear things. One, the song's inspiration according to Tom York. According to the New York Times, Tom described the song with the feeling of your physical consciousness trapped without being able to connect fully with anything else. And secondly, the title Body Snatchers relates to creatures that take your body as its host and insert their consciousness into yours. This idea of a body snatcher that takes your body can clearly relate to the song's overbearing theme of living a fake life. People who see another personality that they wish they had will often impersonate that person and abandon their true nature. This action of impersonating another's personality is the body snatching the title suggests. Your body may still be your body, but your personality is not truly yours anymore. The line, "I have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm trapped in this body and can't get out," further shows this theme with the idea that Tom is trapped in his body but with a different personality, which of course is why he has no idea what he is talking about. However, the symbolic lyrics don't stop there. Next we have a line that clearly shows the process of taking another's personality, these lyrics being, "You killed the sound, removed the backbone, a pale imitation, with the edges sawn off." Tom speaks here about how the other person with the wanted personality has killed his original sound and his backbone, which pretty much means killing and removing his own personality. This has now made him a pale imitation of the other person, with his own personal edge completely gone. And if we needed any more evidence, there is a clear idea of having a fake persona based upon having influences with both the lines, "Your mouth moves only with someone's hand up your ass," and simply, "I am a lie." However, now we have to ask the question, how does this song's meaning fit thematically with the very gruesome themes that are generally displayed throughout In Rainbows? Well, at least in my opinion, this song fits as a self-contemplation on themselves as a band, and Tom York as a celebrity. This album often has the band contemplating themselves and where they will fit in history after death. This song, however, reflects on their early history, and not what will become of them in the future. Early on in Radiohead's career, they acted almost entirely different than they do now. Early on, they appeared to be the typical grunge rockers with their leather jackets and celebrity attitude. However, as they have evolved, the band has become more reserved and honest. This song, while one that everyone can connect to, does seem like the band's way to address their early days when they all pretended to be some typical Hollywood rock star. The next song is one of the most hauntingly beautiful songs Radiohead have ever created, the masterpiece that is Nude. To me, Nude is one of the most somber songs Radiohead have ever come out with. While I know that many people often interpret the song as a look at pornography and how real sex will never be like it, and it does make sense with lyrics such as "Don't get any big ideas, they're not gonna happen," and "You'll go to hell for what your dirty mind is thinking." However, I personally believe that this song has a far darker meaning. For me, the song is about finding out that in life, your dreams will often stay unfulfilled, and how being unsatisfied with life will often lead to suicidal and other bad thoughts that your dirty mind can think of. The idea of being unsatisfied for dreams and ambitions never happening is a heavily explored theme in Radiohead's lyrics. In the song Daydreaming, Tom states that dreamers will never learn, and in Letdown, Tom talks about being crushed by life itself. So it's not far off that Nude is about growing up and finding your dreams being slowly crushed. However, it's also about living with these disappointments and attempting to carry on. This is clearly seen in the lines that directly follow the "Don't get any big ideas" line, which are, "You paint yourself white and fill up with noise, but there'll be something missing." These lines suggest that when you have something missing from your life, you will attempt to cover up the empty space of unfulfilled dreams in order to hide your pain from the rest of the world. So what's the point of the title Nude, and why does Tom sing the lyric Nude so drawn out and desperate sounding? Well, I personally believe that the use of the word nude is actually about feeling emotionally vulnerable and naked to the rest of the world. This further tells me that this song is about hiding your emotional side and not looking so vulnerable. Nude flows quite well into Weird Fishes in the theme of depression. However, wherein Nude was about covering up your depression, Weird Fishes is all about being trapped in depression and seeking options of escape. However, unlike Nude, where the song was clearly about disappointment, Weird Fishes uses the metaphor of being a fish lost in the deep ocean. To start out, the song uses the idea of being at the bottom of the deepest ocean as a way to reference being at your weakest point. And often when we are at our weakest point, we'll follow any chance of happiness we can. While it's not outright said, it does seem like once at the lowest point, the fish follows another fish that has seduced him. This can be seen in the lines, "I'd be crazy not to follow where it leads, your eyes, they turn me." What this seductive fish represents though, well, I think that in and of itself, it's something purposely left to the listener. It's really just whatever you as a person is drawn to when you are vulnerable. Next, once being led by the seductive power, Tom speaks about how he would go far just to get this happiness, that he would even go to the edge of the earth and fall off just to feel something. He wants the chance to feel something. He needs this chance. However, it was all a lie. The song decrescendos into a slow, sad segment as Tom laments over being at the very bottom and slowly eaten by the worms of depression. In these lines, he considers himself a weird fish, someone so far from the norm that he feels beaten down by everyday life. So how does Tom deal with this false happiness that has tricked him? Well, he attempts to escape. The line "I hit the bottom and escape" shows this. What this escape means is pretty cryptic. It could mean getting out of depression and moving on with it, or it could mean committing suicide as a means to escape depression. All I Need is for me one of the most well-written Radiohead songs ever. All I Need is a love song of sorts where Tom is speaking to a lover he has been friends with for years. However, it is far from romantic. All I Need is more of an unrequited love song than anything else. Let's take the line, "I'm an animal trapped in your hot car." This line tells me that this person that Tom loves owns him like he was a dog and she was the master. However, she doesn't care about the dog like the dog cares for her. So she traps the dog in a car, showing how little she cares, which symbolically relates to how she traps Tom in this unrequited hope of love. However, Tom keeps trying and still hoping, as proven in the line, "I'm the next act waiting in the wings," which creates an image of the singer waiting for his turn to enter the stage and be with this woman, as though he was an actor waiting for a cue. However, he is simply ignored, as proven by the line, "I am all the days you choose to ignore." Next, in the chorus, we are given a fairly clear part where Tom pleads with this woman by stating that he has always been there vying for her. This is shown with the line, "I'm in the middle of your picture," which points to the idea that both this woman and Tom have always been close. And of course, the chorus also has the part where Tom is telling his lover that he is all he needs. However, the next few lines become darker. The lines begin with the same idea of this love, with the line, "I'm a moth who wants to share your light. I'm just an insect trying to get out of the night," which obviously forces the listener to imagine a bug being drawn to a light but not able to reach it. However, the next line is almost a plot twist in the song, where it is revealed that Tom is only really trying to be with this woman because there are no others around. She is not some perfect woman who meets every desire, but she's all he really needs to fill the void, and he knows no one else, so he might as well try. Like a moth or any other insect, he will go to whatever light is around. It doesn't truly matter what the light is like. Faust Arp is a lengthy stream of consciousness type song that throws around many of the already spoken themes on the album and some new ones in a very jumbled manner. The lines themselves hold lots of meaning, but as an entire song it's far from very cohesive. However, the song does often bring up the idea of being stuck in situations and stuck in a monotonous routine. This can be clearly seen in the lines, "It's on again, off again, watch me fall like dominoes in pretty patterns." The repetition of on again and off again, as well as the mention of patterns, showed early on the theme of repeating actions. The falling dominoes could also represent the loss of sanity over this routine. This is then further shown with the line "dead from the neck up," which presents the idea that this person is stuck in the routine and is almost brain dead as the rest of his or her body goes through the same motions every day. And having the line "I guess I'm stuck" after this only confirms this for me. Reckoner yet again heavily deals with the theme of death, but unlike much of this album that has the band personally reflecting on death, Reckoner speaks about death as a whole in a peaceful way. Reckoner is pretty much about somebody on the day of reckoning or the day they are about to die, and as it happens, they are slowly saying goodbye to this life. When Tom sings the lines "Take me with you," he's essentially asking to be brought to heaven by this reckoner on his personal day of reckoning, also known as his judgment day. He realizes that death will come and you can't really escape it. The most important line, "because we separate like ripples on a blank shore," shows this quite clearly. This line is essentially talking about the cycle of life and death by using the metaphor of ripples in the water floating onto shore and then flowing back out with the tide. This both shows how short life is, but also shows how life will always continue even after the first human has floated onto the shores of life and then is separated from it. And then the line, dedicated to all human beings, shows how the day of reckoning will come to all human beings. It doesn't truly matter who you are. House of Cards, like many songs in this album, deals with a relationship of some degree. However, like in All I Need, the love explored on this album is a bittersweet one. House of Cards sings a tale of finally finding a person who you love so much that you would do anything to be with him or her. Only difficulty is that they are already married, and you know fully well that if you pursue this love, it won't end happy, but you do it anyways. House of Cards is really the most straightforward song in the album. The first line, I don't want to be your friend, I just want to be your lover, no matter how it ends, no matter how it starts, clearly states how the narrator wants to be with this man or woman, even if the relationship will be incredibly unstable. The idea of having an unstable relationship is continued with the House of Cards symbolism. The chorus has the narrator talking to this love interest and telling her to forget about his or her house of cards, which for me at least is the narrator telling him or her not to worry about how this journey of adultery will most likely be as fragile as a house of cards. And if we needed any more evidence that this song is sung to an already married man or woman, the line, throw your keys in the bowl, kiss your husband good night, proves it for me. Jigsaw Falling Into Place acts as the happiest song in the entire album. It's a very simple story where the narrator is attempting to catch the attention of a man or woman that the narrator wishes to be with. Whether this man or woman is the same person who was mentioned in House of Cards, it's really unknown. Many lines show this kind of lust that Tom has. These lines could be, come on let it out before you run away from me, and just as you write my number down just as the drinks arrive. And even in the line, she looks back and you look back, not just once, not just twice, all fits into this night of love idea. According to the band, Jigsaw Falling Into Place is really just about the drunken nights that the band had, and there's no real complex underlying themes and tones like the other songs. The final song, Videotape, closes the album on a sad but also quite beautiful moment. Tom sings about the day he will die and leave Earth, and how when it happens, everything the band has done will all be on a videotape for the rest of the world to watch over and over again, even though they are no longer with the world. This is shown with how Tom sings, when I'm at the pearly gates, this'll be on my videotape, which can relate to how once he has passed, the memory of him will be immortalized in the many videos of him that can be found almost anywhere. While the song deals with death like many of the other songs, it has a bittersweet view of it. This song has the narrator speaking on his forthcoming death with a peaceful and clear mindset, as seen through the line, no matter what happens now, I shouldn't be afraid. This is clearly showing us that the narrator throughout In Rainbows is now prepared to die and leave this earth on a happy note. At this point, the narrator also says goodbye to his lover he's been speaking to in songs such as All I Need, Jigsaw Falling Into Place, and House of Cards, when he says, You are my center as I spin away. And with that beautiful thought, this album is closed on a semi-positive note, or at least as positive as an album all about unacquainted love and death can have. And thank you for listening. I know some of these interpretations could come off as pretentious, but one thing that's always amazing about Radiohead is that their lyrics are so cryptic that everyone can have their own interpretation. What's yours? If you have a conflicting opinion, feel free to let me know. At the moment, I'm working on another in-depth analysis for the movie The Lobster, so stay tuned for that if you're interested.